even my father, when I told my father about going to therapy.
I wanted to ask you.
When I told my father about going to therapy, he was totally against it.
Why?
Totally against it. He was like, oh, you're going to go to the shrink? Because that's what people call it.
They say that in hospitals, it's like a massive orgy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unknown quote. Yeah. But
like
is this true?
So
revealing too much?
Everyone compares it to Grey's Anatomy. So the sexual part of Grey's Anatomy, 100% true.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Doctors banging nurses, nurses banging nurses, nurses banging whoever.
Patients.
I don't know about patients. If you're banging your patients, yeah, you're losing your license.
Sure.
People get pretty freaky,
they can lose their license?
Yeah, of course you can lose your license. I mean, I've had patients that have tried to, like, oh yeah. I had one patient actually not that long ago.
I'm a little dirty. It ain't gonna wash itself.
They do it.
Yeah.
They do.
Or like they do a little oops. Nurse.
Can you get that?
I dropped my keys. All right.
Oh man.
Yeah, and there's patients that are very serious about it too, that like want to have a relationship with you, like outside of the hospital. Oh yes. I've had one patient who go.
I mean, you never have to pick up the keys. No, but like you never know where you're gonna meet like the right person. Like the next guy. I was watching. Have you ever seen the movie Hitch?
Yeah, of
It's
course.
kind of a terrible example, but it's still like an example. He was saying how like he met this girl, whatever, and he had just bought like some lingerie, like Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, well, you can't help where you meet people, you know? Like I wasn't expecting to come across them. So what if you find your next...
I mean, buying lingerie is different than when I'm wiping someone's ass at the hospital.
Hey, anyone can buy you lingerie, but not everyone can wipe your ass. That's
goals. Not everybody will.
That's goals.
The man was in his 60s, number one.
Okay.
You're like almost bedbound. Number two.
Well, then you can take care of him.
Trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, all right?
And I don't think that I look like I'm 16, but I don't think I look like I'm 40 either.
No.
And
but who knows? Maybe you can come up on another 30K if he's got a...
No, we have VIP rooms on the floor, and he was not in the VIP room.
Okay.
So I think just right there we established that he was not that kind of patient.
Okay.
So in hospital environment, a lot of long hours, long nights. I guess just kind of comes with the territory.
100%. It comes to a point where you spend more time with the people you work with than the people that you live at home with.
So if I'm listening to this right now and I'm dating somebody who's in that medical field, hospital field, should I be worried?
Should I be concerned?
Yeah.
I mean, then I would be concerned for myself.
What?
Or the partner that I'm with, because I'm in that environment.
True, but well.
So not everyone should be concerned, but they should still be aware that
I mean, at the end of the day, every career, I mean, it's capable.
Yeah, if they want to cheat, they're gonna cheat no matter what.
No matter what.
But perhaps that environment amplifies it, right? So
yeah, because like you're forced to really like connect with your coworkers and have to be around them and work with them and see things that not everyone can understand.
I think with doctors, they have more leeway in the sense of like, oh, I have an emergency, I have to go to the hospital. They have more excuses, and you can't challenge the excuse. You can make stuff up, and you can't sit there and be like, oh, well, you're lying. It's not like you have to make up this crazy story to get out of something or to leave abruptly.
I'm also trying to think about like the power dynamics. A lot of people work at hospitals, high value careers. They make a lot of money, so maybe they get away with more.
If you think so?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about it. I'm trying to work this through. Imagine your partner works at a hospital or in that environment, and they make a lot of money. Maybe you see what you want to see, and you see what you don't see what you don't want to see.
Yeah, you choose. You have a blind eye, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people who are in a relationship with someone who's very successful,
I see what you mean now.
They choose.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, like, oh man, he's making this much money. Like, he's providing for me, supporting me, the kids, like at that point, maybe the house, whatever.
Yeah, so maybe it's like
you're giving up your lifestyle.
Well, we had heard with Kevin Samuels, he had said it once that when you're high profile, especially this more on the celebrity side, or maybe like an athlete, that they'll have agreements, like the husband and the wife will have an agreement, or maybe boyfriend or whatever you want to call it, that they'll say like, hey, if I'm gonna be traveling, whatever, like if it happens, like, You know, as long as you're understanding, you know, whatever, like, or women will say, look, I get it because of this, like that exists as well.
It's not cheating. It's just weighing out your options, right? That's kind of what
I think it's saying. Being more flexible on the relationship because of the maybe distance or maybe the style of, because remember when you're an athlete, you're always traveling. So there was this one, I remember years ago, this guy, Andrei Kirilenko, he used to play for a couple of teams. I think it was on the Kings, but that's irrelevant. The point is his wife would say, hey, like, yeah, like I know that if this happens, like I would be aware that it was happening.
But does that mean that you're really in love with this person?
No, of course not.
No.
You're in love with the lifestyle, what it provides, what it brings value to you.
True, but what does that have to do with love? Because at the end of the day, that's if you believe in monogamy. And that just because you're not monogamous doesn't mean you're not in love with someone.
Right, but if you believe, if the only reason you're okay with them stepping out on you, not stepping out, but pursuing other people is because they provide this lifestyle, then now that's an issue that I have. But if they were a regular Joe Schmo making $60K a year, would you be okay with them doing that? If the answer is no.
I could use $60K.
You make more than that.
Not anymore.
But if the question resides, is that okay with you? If they do, if they're average Joe, chances are maybe no, I wouldn't be okay with that. So then that's the question: is that love? Maybe not. I love the lifestyle they provide, the nice car, the big house, the fancy jewelry.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
No, neither would I.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't care if he's gone for 6 months. Fix yourself.
Yeah.
I don't care.
So you have you been pursued by people of maybe the hierarchy, like doctors and surgeons, where have they pursued you or tried to?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How did that look? Like, like how
what's their game? Do they actually spit game, or they're just like MD?
I mean, I think it depends, because a lot of doctors don't have personalities. A lot of doctors, they hide behind their title because they have God complexes, and they think that just because they're a doctor, you owe them something. Remember, you say celebrity, but a doctor in the hospital is a celebrity.
Too bad. I remember when I first started baking, there was this plastic surgeon that came in, and he was really good looking guy, young guy. And he would walk in here, like, if you, like, even at the bank, he walked in there and they're like, oh, it's this doctor. And I'm like, so what? Just super good looking guy. And dude, to really know that he's a plastic surgeon, like, that's successful and that age, and he looks like that, it's like, dude, women are crawling at this guy's feet. And he walked into that branch like if he was the president of the bank. And everyone was like, oh my God. So I can just imagine in his own clinic or in his own, like, office.
Well, demeanor is everything.
Yeah.
The way you present yourself says a lot about you. And that's how a lot of the doctors do it. When they come in, they act like, I'm the best thing on this floor and you need to respect me because I am, I am who I am.
Yeah.
That's true, because, like, outside of it is, like, think of how much work that they put in to get to that point.
Years
but
and years.
To have that kind of character and now think or expect people to respect you.
I guess it's hard to be humble when you're on that level, when you're playing on that field.
And then now you're bringing the sexual aspect, because one thing is to ask for professional respect, but then when you tie in sexual expectations, that's completely different, because I don't care what your title is. Sex is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
How do you put that boundary, like in the hospital when you're working with other coworkers and you're young, you're attractive, and how do you tell them, hey, listen, no. And you're single as well, so how do you, like, distance yourself from that? I
mean, it all starts with the flirting. It all starts with, and everyone can agree, it all starts with the little comments here and there. So once you start entertaining those comments, you're accepting them. And when you start throwing them back, you're saying, okay, I'm interested. And it starts escalating from there. And every time you accept the next level and you throw that next level back, then you are now taking on what's going to come on from there.
It keeps graduating.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to shut that down.
Exactly.
Really quick, I feel like.
So if that's something that you know that you don't want from the beginning, then that's something that you can't even entertain from the get.
Yeah.
Because what I have experienced too is that when you don't entertain it, then they treat you like shit.
Oh, I bet.
So then maybe some people feel obliged to say, well, if I want to keep my job, I have to entertain.
Correct.
Or move ahead. I want to get ahead in this industry.
Correct.
I don't want to be mean and say no, because maybe, he is my boss, but I also don't want to cross it. But then, like, you start kind of testing that boundary every time until it crosses.
Because I've seen it.
It's too late.
And it's happened to me where I've had a physician who tried, and again, I felt that obligation, and I was kind of like, I don't know what to do. I felt that, what do I do? I kind of like was like, okay, do I do it? Do I not? Let me try it. And when I took that like first step, I was like, absolutely not. I took a step back, and it was night and day. The way he treated me before that day and the way he treated me after that day was night and day. And he made my life hell after that day.
Really?
Did you get involved with him, or
I never
didn't get to that point?
I never let it get to that point, but I like kind of entertained it of like, let me take it outside of the office to see if it, can turn into that. But once I realized that, like, no, I can't do this, because it's always fun when it's flirting.
Yeah.
But then when you take it to that next level, it's like, oh shit, like this is real.
Yeah.
It's also like they always say, you don't shit where you eat. Like it's hard like working. Like imagine this turns into something and then things don't work out. Now you're stuck seeing this person
in an environment that you have to work with them.
In a hospital, high stress, fast paced.
For me, it was worse because it was a private office. So you see each other every day, 9 to 5.
Jesus.
It's not like a hospital where it's constant 12 hours. People are walking in and out, different rooms. You're dealing with, there's 43 patients on the floor, all different hours. So it was worse for me. And my life was hell after that. Hell. He wouldn't even look at me in the face.
And you had to work with him? Like, yeah, you had to.
He was the only doctor.
Yeah, private him, yeah.
No, the office, it was me, one other girl, and him. It was 3 people in the entire office.
So
then you left? At some point you
No, so he actually closed the practice and moved away.
Okay, I guess. Good for
okay,
you.
well, at least it ended somehow.
But it ended.
Yeah, because, I mean, who knows? I mean, think about it. Who knows if you would have probably stayed because you still needed the experience or the training, the hours.
No, I'm a true believer that everything happens for a reason, though, because if it weren't for him closing that practice, a lot of things that happened after wouldn't have happened for me career-wise, and I wouldn't be where I am now. So
what's next for you? Like where you are currently in life, like where do you see you? Are you're not seeing anybody? You're single. You're doing you. What's your life look like?
So I'm gonna continue seeing the red flags.
Very important.
The red flags are real, guys. They're real.
Red flags.
They're real, and you need to learn to see them. People don't see them.
You got to be aware. You got to ask the right questions. You got to learn to, be aware of patterns. A lot of times I feel like sometimes they don't see them. Sometimes they see them. They don't want to see them because they want to believe that this is okay. I can work with this.
They'll make excuses for it. Like maybe because of this. And then it turns into a fixing project. Well, but if we fix this, then it would be great. It's like, that's not your...
Well, I'm a true believer too that since also we live in a very superficial place, we also go by looks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when someone is so good looking to you, everything else doesn't matter.
What is something that attracts you? Like, are you a person who physically like is going for those type of guys who like, okay, like I have to be with somebody that looks X certain amount of way?
When I started therapy, yes, that's all I cared about. I'm not gonna lie. When I looked at someone, obviously attraction is important.
Sure.
If you are not attracted to that person in any slight way, then it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
At all. What's a Cuban saying? There's a Cuban saying something about that.
Wrong person to ask.
Chris? I don't remember.
I don't know. But you definitely have to be attracted to them. And
Sure.
I did find that was my pattern. And I kept going for the looks only. And I saw where that was getting me. And it was getting me nowhere.
So that means you date ugly dudes now?
Hey,
ugly dudes. Slide in the DMs.
Definitely not ugly dudes. But I mean... there has to be a balance.
I think, yeah. So you would rather be what?
No, go ahead.
You'd rather be with like a 6 with like a personality of like an 8, rather than be with a guy that looks like an 8 but have a personality of a 6.
100%. Your personality is what's going to take you further in life than your looks.
Yeah, ugly dudes, you just got to be cool and funny. You can do that, you might have a chance.
No, because one thing that I've also learned in therapy too is that a guy can have 18 positives, but that one negative can be so strong that it can overpower those 18 positives.
Damn, that must be one heck of a negative. No, but 100%, you're right, because you got to look at the big picture. Is it somebody that I can grow with? If it's somebody that could be my partner for life?
Well, look, let me throw an example. Chris, let's say I go on a date with Chris, right? And Chris checks off all the boxes, and I'm like, I want to be with Chris. And then Chris
does though.
But then Chris throws at me, I don't believe in marriage.
Come on, this is some okay.
Okay, carry on.
That for me could be like, I believe in marriage, and that's not something that I feel like I can change his mind. So am I willing to risk, let's say, 5 years of my life And then after 5 years, expect him to get on one knee and be like, hey, will you marry me? And then in 5 years, be like, hey, where's the ring? And him be like, hey, 5 years ago, I told you that I don't believe in marriage.
True.
And then I just threw away 5 years of my life because I chose to look at the 18 positives and not the one negative.
But then exactly, that's on you then, because he was, if he's transparent and tells you, hey, listen, marriage is not my thing, and you continue to pursue this person and date them, now you're saying either, hey, marriage is not as important to me, or I'm hoping this person will change their mind.
True, but then do you ever then think to yourself, because I think there's also levels to things, because I do respect that if people want to get married, that's fine. We had an episode that we recorded, like, what's the point and, like, what's your reasoning behind getting married? And I think a lot of people just do it because, not for anything special to them. It's just because. But I was thinking more like, for example, let's say I'm great, but, like, I beat up women.
Well, no, I think that should be anyone's.
He's great and all, but maybe I shouldn't.
That should be everyone's red flag.
But do you ever think, for example, like, okay, well, if he's this much of a great guy, how important is marriage really to me if this guy checks off everything that I would want in a partner?
That's a personal answer.
Right. Okay.
That is.
But everyone has their own opinion. But to me, that can be so strong that to me, that's enough to say no.
Okay.
I respect that, because that marriage weighs whatever it means to you, like, right? Yeah. So if it's like something that you truly believe and that's what you want, for the right reasons, 100%
for the right
reasons,
exactly.
I respect that.
Because some people and that's just that, but we can talk about religion, or we can talk about anything, and sometimes you'll find someone who's so stuck to one way just because that's what they think it should be, rather than having anything really concrete. Because if you do have something in front of you that's everything that you've ever wanted to, and maybe you disagree on one thing that and you really sit back and reflect, like, how important is this one thing really to me? Then I think that's where, if we're open to saying, well, yeah, why did I really want to get married? Is it because I just want the ring? Do I want the ceremony? Does it mean anything to me? Or is it because my parents told me I need to get married?
So then I have a question for you. Is that me questioning what my values are to adapt so that way I can be with you?
No, it is a great question, and that's kind of the other side of the direction of my argument. Because now I guess you would have to say, well, now I have to, I guess, change my belief for you.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately it depends, because how important and how significant does it really mean to you? One, because at the end of the day, there's things that I can change for you. Not so much that I'm changing it for you, but for example, let's say I'm always going out every Friday because I want to drink and party. But if I'm in a relationship with you and you're like, hey, like, I don't really want to do this, I'll be like, you know what? I don't really care too much about partying anyways. Like,
exactly.
I'm kind of down to just.
But see, that's different than a lifelong marriage.
That's what I'm saying. It's more of the actual ideology and belief behind it. Because for me, going out every Friday isn't really that big of a deal. But if I did it just because, it's something that I'm open to changing. But if I did it because maybe every Friday religiously, because maybe that Friday was, I made it a tradition with my coworkers or my family or my father, where every Friday we would go out. For you to be like, well, look, I don't like that, then I may say, well, this is super important to me. I can't do it then, because this is who I am.
Yeah, that's
a little bit different. But for someone to now choose marriage, I'm not using your argument. I'm just saying in general to say, well, no, I want to get married because, well, why? Because I think it's a beautiful thing. Okay, but what about it is beautiful? It's just because. That is what I don't like. Because now you're just defending something for what? When it doesn't really mean to you. It doesn't really mean anything to you.
I think in principle, there's certain non-negotiables, perhaps, where fundamental things that you value, and you really can't put a price on that. Other people might not understand.
Yeah.
And that's okay, 100%. You got to pursue the life that you want to live. And if that includes marriage, you need to find somebody who believes in the same thing.
Sure.
And but sometimes there are those cases where you go on a date with Chris, for example, you're saying, and hey, we want to get married. Well, Chris says, marriage is okay. I'm open to it, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sold on 100%. Now it's like, well, there's a maybe. How would you respond to that? Would you give it a chance because there's those 19 good things about this person, and there's a little bit of indecisiveness, or maybe not now, and maybe not at this point in time?
Yeah, are you willing to take the risk?
Yeah, that risk factor is my question.
But are you also open to the possibility of there not being a marriage at the end?
So you and I have talked about this before, and I can tie that into, are you willing to take the risk of getting married? Because your argument against marriage is you're looking at it as a business aspect, because you're just trying to protect yourself and your assets and your financials. So, but 100%. When you're doing that, you're protecting yourself against divorce.
True. No, okay, go. Continue.
You're living and you're protecting yourself against divorce.
Yes.
So are you willing to take that risk? So if I'm willing to take that risk, shouldn't you be able to take that risk?
Mm-hmm. You don't know. You know?
No. It's a great example.
Yeah, sure.
The only thing I see it is, so there's two ways that we can see it. One, if we're happy without marriage, what makes us think that that's the next step in our lives? So is the marriage really going to be that impactful for our relationship when everything else is great? One. Two, it's also, nobody goes into a marriage thinking that they want to get divorced.
Of course not.
Right? You know, that's the unfortunate side of it. So you go into it blind to everything, which is a lot of first-time marriages. They don't get prenups. They'd rather not, because they think that they're so in love, they're going to be together forever. That's concerning, because when statistically, numbers don't lie, and it's a little bit unfortunate that we're kind of taking that serious matter over something about your heart and emotion. But you do need to, you can't be blind to it, because if the numbers are telling you, hey, statistically, you're more likely to get a divorce than anything else, whatever you want to compare it to, it's like, what encouragement would I have to want to get married if without being married, you and I could be as happy as ever?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's my argument. Because if marriage is going to be the next thing where it's impactful, like, for example, if you and I are together, we buy a house, that's a big deal, because now we're both living in a home that we can call our own. But for you to say, well, we're not married and now we are, yesterday we weren't, but we were happy. Today we're married and we are. Next month we'll still be married, but even if we weren't, how impactful is that one title on our relationship?
Yeah, which brings in what Marvin says. You just have to find someone who is on the same page as you and is, wants the same thing as you.
I guess the question that you have to ask yourself, is marriage the prerequisite to a healthy relationship? And the answer is, maybe not. It isn't. Exactly.
No, there are people who are together for 9 years. They get married, and in a year they're divorced, and then vice versa. There's people who are together for 3 months and are crazy enough to get married, and they're together forever.
So there's really, it's hard, because when you look at the statistics and the numbers, it's one way, but there's no reason to rhyme. You never really know until you know. So,
yeah.
I love that refreshing conversation.
That was really good, right?
I like that. Enjoyable. And it came out of nowhere.
It did. We're reaching an hour. I don't want to get too far into it.
If you want to circle it up.
Yeah, so we had covered the importance of therapy, your family, what you've seen. So okay, well, you're saying, so what's next for you? What are you looking for? Are you still dating? Are you open to find something? Do you still need time for your career?
So I'm definitely still dating.
Ugly dudes, listen up. Ugly dudes with good personalities, listen up.
I'm still dating. I still go on dates. I'm kind of just living life as it comes. I'm still in school. That's my focus. I work, and what comes at me, and what doesn't. I'm just trying to live a very peaceful, stressful life. And I think that I've finally come to a place at my life where I'm living drama-free. I don't have boy drama. I don't have friend drama. I don't have drama at all. Not with my family, nobody. And I'm finally happy, which I don't think a lot of people can say. I'm very happy with myself and where I'm at and where I'm going to be. And I hope that when I graduate, I can kind of venture out of Miami, see where life takes me, and just kind of just taking things as they come.
How do you meet men that you go on dates with? Like, what does your dating pool consist of?
I've never been on a dating app personally, like Tinder and all those things. But to me, I think Instagram is the biggest dating app.
I was going to say that.
Yeah. So honestly, Instagram is probably the biggest one that, not that I've used, but that men have pursued me on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've taken risks, because obviously you don't know who you're meeting on the other side. Yeah. But I do think Instagram is more personable than Tinder.
Yeah.
Or
I guess there's less pressure, because you know you're on Tinder to date. Exactly. Instagram, you're there to connect.
Well, not even necessarily. I feel like Instagram, you can tell more of a legit profile than on Tinder. I can go and put 3 pictures of a girl I find on Instagram, and
sure, that catfishing whole thing.
And I can write 3 things about her and put up whatever age, and that's it.
Do you get do you get approached in person often, or is that something that happens?
I don't think so, right? Because you were talking about Instagram, how that's the thing, because your RBF may.
So when I go out,
scare them away.
No, so I hear that a lot, that I'm intimidating, but that's their approach. They'll come up to me. I get a lot of guys that come up to me, but they'll tell me, like, you're very intimidating. That's their, like, I guess their pickup line or their whatever. And I just look at them and I'm like, Okay. What are you gonna say after that? Like, what do you want me to say? I'm sorry. Like,
I didn't plan this far ahead.
Yeah, I
didn't think I'd get this far.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, what am I supposed to say next to that? And then it kind of, they just look at me and they're like, "Well, you want a drink?" And I'm just kind of like, "No." And the problem with me, though, is that I'm not a drinker. So when I say no to a drink, it's not me being like, no, I'm not into you, walk away from me. It's just me being like, generally like, no, I don't want one.
But don't you feel like you can probably communicate that better to them? Because remember, especially when it comes to flirting and the first approach, for you to be like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't,
be like, all right.
I'm not one-worded. I'm not like, no, bye. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm good. Thank you so much. Like, I'm actually very nice about it.
Yeah, but
that's not much better.
If you could say, if you were to be like, I really don't drink too much, but you know, like I'll get a water or something.
I don't know. I've seen way too many girls get drugged out here.
Okay, then no, but I'll go with you. Let's go to the bar.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess too, like I feel like that's also the wrong place to find someone too. Like usually
with the environment.
Yeah, like when you're out, like usually when a guy comes up to you, he has one intention, is to take you home at night.
Okay, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. That's a problem. Because although maybe true,
maybe
it's also, we talked about a little while ago, you never know where you're gonna meet someone. What if you, like, think about it, maybe you always walk by the same person every day, but then he noticed you that one night when you're at the bar, and then he goes up to you and he goes, wait a minute, I think I know you. And then he starts talking. You're like, oh my God, yeah, I walked down the same place the whole time. And now you just found your Prince Charming that just so happened to be out that same night that you chose to be out.
I mean, I guess it depends on their approach and how they handle you that night. But if they're like talking to you and they're coming up to you and they're being really creepy and trying to make out with you within the first 2 seconds, you know what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
No, it's hard for a lot of men to, because a lot of us, we don't know when to approach women.
What's the right way?
Approach women. They say don't do it at the bar because, you know, like it's not a good place. Don't do it at the gym because they're working out. Don't do it anywhere because they're, you know, you're busy, you know, with life. You're supposed to wait for like at Whole Foods or something like that.
Yeah, and then one girl will respond one way to one thing. Yeah. The other girl would probably be looking for something else. Like there's also that side of it where
it's like a maze almost.
Yeah, this is the most complicated like problem.
Yeah.
But I do feel a lot of men lack a lot of basic social skills.
I just think that we feel a lot of pressure, especially when there's so, especially because you have like one shot, like literally right there, you know, to have that first impression. And there's so much that needs to be pre-calculated unless it's been like a study, like where you've seen them often, where you can be like, okay, I see how they are. Like I see their friends. I see how they reacted to certain things. So right off the bat, I can kind of build a preliminary personality of how I would approach you. But if I just see you one time, I'm like, damn, she's bad.
Yeah.
What do I like?
Like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah, I go up to you thinking, hey, let me buy your drink. And you're like, no, no, thanks. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll go fuck myself.
Because it takes so much courage to walk across a room and approach a stranger. And then you tell me, no, I'm good. It's like, fuck. Even though you maybe you're still interested, but you just don't want to have a drink. It's like, how am I supposed to convey that to you? Like in terms of, okay, like, let me could still pursue you. It's hard.
Yeah. Maybe in that aspect, but like I guess for me, like on Instagram, like obviously men have pursued me on Instagram and you have conversation, obviously on Instagram, preliminary, and then you go on this date. So for me, I guess I compare, well, you've had this conversation on Instagram and they're one person on Instagram and then you meet them and they're a whole different person. So I just feel like this generation hides behind their phone. So on the other side of the screen, they're one personality and they're very, you know, they have all this chipa and they're very intense and they have all this, you know, and then you meet them in person and they can't hold a conversation for the life of them.
Maybe they're nervous, you know, especially if it's a first date.
And especially if they think that you're intimidating because maybe then they see you like,
oh shit, like.
Yeah, like you don't seem like someone, like you seem very secure with yourself. You said that you're happy. I feel like, you know, you're confident in yourself, so no one can really try to BS you or tell you something.
But as a female, if I go on a date and I feel like as a woman,
we got in trouble calling women females.
Yes.
Well, I'm a girl. I can.
All right, thank you.
As a female, if I go on a date and I feel like I have to carry the entire conversation and I have to carry the entire date, why would I want to go on a second date with you?
True.
That's true.
Fair enough. Yeah, you gotta, because you want to see some initiative from the guy, especially, you know.
And I'm very 50-50. And when it comes to finances, like I will pay for dates, I will do everything. I'm very 50-50. But when it comes to having a conversation, if you can't carry a conversation,
yeah, you gotta lead. You gotta lead, you know, in some way.
Then what am I doing?
Yeah. What are you thinking?
No, I'm thinking. No, it's tough because you're very secure and you're very like. yo, what's up? Like, this is me,
like,
right?
Like, even when
a little intimidated without
even when I walked out to when I met you first, I'm like, oh shit, like this is, you know, like you can sense
there's
like,
this energy from you that it's like, yo, I'm a woman, don't fuck with me.
Which is not a good thing all the time. It's not.
Yeah,
I guess
because unintentionally you're like,
but I feel like maybe the right guy will like, the right kind of guy will like withstand that.
That shit don't phase me.
Yeah, exactly.
So which then makes me, if I go on a date with you and you're not taking initiative and I have to carry it, then I know that then that's not, you're not it.
My goodness. I mean, what time?
I'm sorry,
go
guys.
Too far. No. This was great. You have a.
No, I mean, obviously there's so much more, but in terms of the time that we have, I think we covered a lot of it.
I think we did. Yeah, we should be good.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you want to add on, or something maybe you want to felt like sharing, or
something that we forgot to include?
To dissect briefly.
Nothing that I can think of.
Beautiful.
I'm sure it'll come to me at 5 a.m.
I know, and then you'll be, we should have talked about this.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
No, so then we'll get into the direction to start wrapping it up. Usually along the end of the show, I feel like we could talk about so much more. But also, you know what? No, but I want to keep it like a tease.
Yeah,
maybe we'll bring you
on again, maybe down the line and have a part two.
So yeah, when you get like maybe you find someone, you can tell us, hey, who's the guy? We'll have him right next to you.
I'd love to see that.
All right, so we're gonna start going more towards for time purposes. We ended with the final thoughts. So anything that you believe in now, any advice you'd give to your younger self, something that you live by, anything, you can say it to the camera, say it to us. The floor is yours. Take your time.
I would definitely have gone to therapy sooner. Because if I could have been the person I am today, if I look back 2 years ago and you told me that I would be the person I am today, I would have laughed at you. Because I know that, let's say this video gets back to my ex-boyfriend and he hears the things that I have to say about who I am today, he will laugh. And he will say all that is a lie because that's not who I was. I didn't have an identity. I was just very like, yeah, my life is his. I do whatever he wants, whatever. I wasn't happy. That's not who I am today. And I wish I would have gone sooner. And even if I'm in a relationship or like you said, celebrate the happy things, therapy is such a positive thing. So if I would have started a lot younger, I think I would be in a different place right now.
I love that. I think a lot of times people from the past, they try to hold on to a version of you that is no longer.
Oh, because that's all they know.
Exactly. That's all they know. But 30 years happened and there was growth between that time. So I'm not responsible for the version that you hold of me in your head. Like, that's not me anymore. You have to understand that. So I like that point that he threw in there. Appreciate that.
I had a quick question, especially with everything that we discussed. If you're in a relationship and you get cheated on, especially now, how would you take it?
I think that answer is easier said now because it's easy to say, oh, I get cheated on, I'm out, when you're not in the relationship.
Yeah.
But then when it happens and you're in love with that person, it's different because you're like, damn.
But is it different though? Because is that really?
No, it is. Because think about it, bro. Like, look, when you were a scumbag before and your ex with what happened, think about it. Like, you were doing your wrongdoings and she could have said no, but she like tried to oversee to still be with you. So like she could have been like, no, he cheated on me. Forget him. I never want to deal with him again. But she was still like open to that idea.
Because remember, when our friends go through stuff, we give the world's best advice. But then when we go through the same situations,
sometimes a little bit harder to do.
No, coaches don't play. Coaches don't play.
Of course not. We do the same exact toxic things that we tell our friends not to do.
But I also think I think it depends as long as you're aware of it though, because you can be blind to it. Because like I've given advice and I'm like, I don't even take my own advice on this, but I know I should.
Yeah, you know it's the right thing to do.
But emotionally, when you're there, because I understand why they're feeling that way, and I'm there giving them advice about that situation, and I'm like, well, you're an idiot. Like that's not I'm unbiased and unemotional to it. But when I am biased and I am emotional and I am in the situation, I've had examples where I'm like, damn, like I'm literally like I would never do this if I knew, but I'm at least aware of that decision and that thought process. That some people will be blind to it.
I feel like it's easier to answer it when it's hypothetical, but when you're in that situation, it's very different.
Yeah, because
work that way.
Because I see you, because you're like it's like I feel like if someone were to cheat on you, that you'd be like, damn, it sucks, but I'm awesome. Like, this guy sucks. Like,
so I'm actually very emotional, believe it or not. Behind this like RBF and the intense girl that was sitting outside, I'm actually very emotional. Oh yes, I'm sensitive. Not sensitive. Sensitive is not the right word, but I mean, I'm definitely very in touch with my feelings. Yeah. And I definitely have feelings.
I don't know.
No.
You look like the type of person that you like.
Cutthroat.
No.
Cutthroat.
Yeah. I think I definitely would. I mean, I think it depends on the exact situation because there are different situations. Not every cheating story is the same.
You have anything to say about that?
I mean, of course, we could go on, but
I mean, I know the end result obviously is the same. Still cheated. No matter what happened, cheating is still cheating.
But I feel like there's also details that...
Exactly.
So if just you would want to know more, like, okay, like what happened?
Exactly.
Are there different levels of cheating?
What led to that?
Not that there's different levels, but like, how long did it go on for? Is it romantic? Do you have feelings for this person? Was it just physical? Was
it a one-time thing?
Yeah.
Was there an
exactly. Like, I feel like there's so many other things that then depends. Like, okay, do I give this person another chance? Do I just, work with them to move on? Or do I just say that just crossed the line for me and I'm done? That's it.
So if some people say, once a cheater, always a cheater. Do you believe in that concept or?
I don't.
Okay. I don't believe in it either.
I believe, honestly, there are people who have never cheated and then they find the person they cheat on. Just because you've never cheated doesn't mean that you're not capable of cheating. Everyone's capable of cheating.
Everybody. Well,
what time is it?
Everybody is capable.
1:12. You got to get this timestamp. No, like it's at 1:12 recording.
It's true. Everyone is capable of cheating. Just because you've never cheated before doesn't mean you're never going to.
Just because you always have cheated doesn't mean that you're always going to cheat again.
You can find the one person who all of a sudden changes your entire life, just like marriage. You can find the one person that all of a sudden you want to marry, even though your whole life you said that you don't want to marry.
Because...
Not marriage. What's up? What are you going to say?
No, because I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. And you're 100% right, because some people are like, oh, once you're a cheater, you can't go back from that. It's who you are. And I'm like, bro, like, if you apply that concept to everything else you do in life, then you would always be a piece of shit, for that being said, like, I don't agree with that. People change, people evolve, people adapt, people grow. And yes, you make mistakes, but you can overcome that, because the person that I was 2-3 years ago is not even remotely who I am today. And so I know that people think mistakes happen, but I don't think it has to define who you are.
And also think of like people who have addiction or stuff like that. Like when they actually go to rehab and they actually are sober, or they're like, I haven't picked up a drink in years, or I haven't done drugs in this long. It's like, you were able to fight that addiction of you always having to do something for yourself. And, maybe let's say if there is ever a relapse, it's not like you're back into like, you're get into this addiction again that you're like now
stuck there for life.
Yeah. So it's like, once this, like all that, like you can make a decision for yourself that's better, and to not have to fall back to that.
Yeah. You can overcome that for sure.
Yeah. I think we're good.
Your past doesn't determine your future, and your future doesn't determine your past.
Very well.
Put that on a shirt.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
No, absolutely. I think every decision is kind of, I think we're in control of it.
Yeah.
We can't just kind of expect because of a pattern it's going to happen again. You can always break the pattern. Be wary of it. Mm-hmm. But I think if you can acknowledge it, then you're in full control of course. Feeding into it, or
your life can change in a second.
Alrighty, so we had our final thoughts. I think it's time to break up. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's not you. Wouldn't be the first.
It's not you. Wouldn't be the first. So yeah, we're gonna start wrapping it up. So thank you so much.
It was a great segment.
Right?
I really liked it.
You doubted me.
Thank you so much.
You doubted me, and I stepped up.
I'm offended now.
No, I didn't know who you are.
So. No, I was the thing.
I had no idea.
It's not that he thought wrong. He just
I didn't think.
What to expect.
Yeah, I didn't think.
And I think it worked out to be fabulous.
I'm very excited for this one.
That's good one, right?
That's a great one. Thanks so much for coming on.
No, thank you guys.
Spending your
Saturday early afternoon.
No, thank you guys.
Appreciate you.
So with that being said, please like this video down below, subscribe to the YouTube channel, ring the notification bell,
smash that button.
Comment down below if you want. Do whatever you want at this point. I don't care.
Tune on the go.
iTunes and Spotify, social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok.
Yep.
Our website, you can find all those goodies on thecoffeebreakup.com.
Perfect.
With that being said,
thank you guys.
Sam, you're awesome. Thank you so much.
You guys are awesome too. Thank you.
We tried. Thank you.